Live. All right. So, hello everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, on all of the above. So sorry, everybody. We ran incredibly late because we had like some major technical issues. Like the entire system broke down and completely like messed up. So we had to like figure it out and like piece it together and stuff because for this live, I wanted to do something a little bit differently, where I wanted to do a little bit of a better quality and value. And so it took us some time. Hello, Eliana. It took us some time to kind of get it going. So please, apologies for running late, y'all. Please accept my apologies. So Michelle is joining me. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Ferny. How you doing? Hello, audience.
Hello, everybody. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. So what we're gonna do is we are going to like kind of chit chat for a little bit. Really, well, not really quickly, but we're gonna chit chat for a little bit, kind of talk about some stuff, and then after that, then I will start doing readings for you guys. Okay. So don't worry. I'm still gonna give y'all plenty of times to do readings while I'm doing while we're chatting or whatever. Get your questions in. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want. Be specific, of course, and you can go ahead and start putting those questions in the comment section below. But for the conversation piece, if you guys have questions about the conversation we're having as well, feel free to ask because it'll be interesting. Because we're going to talk about a few things before I go into readings with you guys. Okay, so I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. Woosah, woosah, right?
Yes, super deep breath. Thank you
uh,
for having me on here.
Thank you for joining me. I feel sometimes like when I'm talking with the Instagram lives because I can bring people on or whatever. I feel like I have someone to talk to sometimes. It's not just the comments, but with the YouTube, I don't really have that luxury, and with Facebook, I don't really have that luxury. So that's why I wanted to do it this way. That way, I've got someone to talk to, but then also I can still do my readings for everybody as well. So happy Saturday, y'all. So tell me about your week and coping with life.
Okay, so it has been very heavy, because my job, everything has been like so hectic
Yeah.
because I kind of feel like we're operating in a style that's incorrectly
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, where is your empathy? It's like everybody feels like we're still running like we were
Mm.
and expecting people to output at the same level when everything
Mm.
has changed. It's like expecting the same output with new variables. Like, who is that?
Mm.
Where do they do that? Like, who can cope,
Mm.
So, like, just in talking to various people, I find that a lot of people are going to like old tools for like coping. Like,
Mm.
me, for instance, in the very beginning of this, it was very difficult for me not to fall back into like alcoholism
Mm.
because I didn't really know what to reach for my comfort.
Mm.
And so I'm kind of feeling like a lot of people are in that same space. So, as the expert on not killing yourself, like, what would you say we should really be, trying to do, like,
Yeah.
to kind of feel better?
I mean, I always try to give people tools that I use myself because by nature, people have this assumption that like spiritual people don't struggle and they don't deal with
Mhm.
human issues, which is bullshit because we deal with issues just like every other person. So for us, it is definitely the same issues that we have to cope with in life as well as everybody else. For me, though, the way that I cope with different kinds of stressful situations, first thing is breathing because breathing helps a lot. Just like you know what, let me take a moment, pull back from the situation or whatever's going on, and take a few deep breaths and just get myself back to a place of like I'm in my own head and I'm breathing breath of the breath of life, right? So that's number one.
Right.
Number two, try to like lighten up your mood. I'm not saying go and find a way to be happy, but just try to lighten up a mood because no matter what is going on in the world and no matter what is happening in our individual lives, we still have to wake up the next day and deal with a new reality, whether it's been completely changed from the day before or whether it's just um, a new set of variables, a new set of situations that we have to just cope with and just make peace with. So I always tell people, like, you need to just be okay with today is one day, today is the way it is, and then tomorrow might be different. It might be a different set of circumstances or whatever. But for me, I think trying to get into a habit or taking up things that are part of your normal routine help to bring you back to a balance. And so for me, for example, for, I love my Sunday fun days because every Sunday I do the same thing. I make a big breakfast like the way my mom used to make, and I put on 80s commercials. I may watch some 80s shows, 80s cartoons, Saturday morning, etc. And that seems to always make me feel better. Or I may watch Star Trek because I can sit and watch Star Trek for hours and feel perfectly caught up in the conversation or what's happening on the show, and I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, just doing things that are in your routine, your normal routine, help to stabilize you because they can act as anchors, and then also just bringing back some of the things that you used to do when life was okay or when something was normal. You know, for me, the Saturday morning cartoons, that's a normal thing. You wake up Saturday morning. We didn't have to worry about paying our bills, right? We just wake up
Yeah.
and watch Saturday mornings, one Saturday morning. I remember all of that stuff from the 90s. So just that in itself is enough to make you feel like you're normal and like you're back to a place where you're safe and everything's okay, even if like the world is falling apart or tomorrow there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff happening.
I think it's going to get crazier too. So like that's why it's really important for us to be doing that, because like if you're not getting a hold of it now,
Yeah.
like you can spiral, because this is so crazy. Like every week there's some new great big shift. Like I was talking to some people today about like the election coming up. Like we don't know what's going to happen. Like there could be any crazy hijinks. Everything has been like
Right.
this is a movie,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who knows?
That
So
that's
like
what
I
I,
just
that's what I was telling you. I was like, 2020 is that bitch that nobody wants to invite back to their party ever again. Like that's what 2020 is going to be after this year because nobody's
oh
going to
my
want to deal
god.
with 2020. 2020 is going to be hashtag for years to come after this year is over with. Like you're so hashtag 2020,
Oh,
because
you're
this year
terrible.
a mess. It's like it's a mess, right? It's a freaking mess. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to prepare for. You're hashtag 2020. That's what you are. So this will be something used for years to come. I think so, what like some of the ways that people try to cope, they do try to incorporate spiritual principles and spiritual practices like meditation and yoga, which I mean that all is given. If you're already like a fan of mine or if you're already a follower, like you probably are doing something of that. But for me, dealing with human issues, sometimes it's easier to deal with human issues by coping by using human methods of dealing with reality, and
Mhm.
we can go to this mental place in our minds where we're completely disconnected and detached from reality, but we still have to deal with reality. So we're still like here, we're still having to deal with normal everyday issues. And that's where it gets tricky because you can incorporate spiritual tools and practices, but it's not going to cover the range of human emotion because it's all about like being in this mental place where you're completely disconnected, detached. You don't have any interest or invested interest in the outcome, and none of this all matters. Which, from a spiritual perspective, none of this really is that important. But from a human perspective, I'm right here, and I still got to worry about using toilet paper to wipe my ass at the end of the day.
Okay.
So it's life, right?
Right. That's why I use music. I'm like, okay, what do I know? My throat is acting up. Sorry, guys. I'm like, what the hell? I'm over here trying to hold. I got watery eyes. But that's why I use music, because it's right here.
Yeah.
It takes me to a time that I'm like, okay,
Mm.
it was better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because damn, what is going on?
It's all right, girl.
Just
Just
all of
let
a
it out.
sudden, I'm
Just let
like,
it out. Just let it all out. Oh, I can't hear you anymore. You like your volume completely went away on me. It just got low, and I can barely hear you now. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Here, I don't know. You did something just happened. Like you coughed or some sound happened, and then the volume just completely disappeared. Let's see. Speak directly into the hoe. Speak directly into the hoe and see if that changes it. Yeah. Oh, how funny. Oh, how funny. Here, hold on. Here. I'm gonna call you back. Here, we're having tech. See, this is what we're talking about with the technical issues. Because I was trying to work these all out earlier today, so I didn't have to deal with it. And then this all started happening. It's funny because when we were prepping and getting ready, I was trying to get my mic right, and my mic wasn't working. So I was like, "What the hell is going on with my mic?" And then she was perfect. Her voice was fine, and then all of a sudden now it's acting crazy. Here, let's. No, you're still the same. You're still the same. Yeah, look, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna call you back,
Okay.
guys. Oh my God, this is a freaking. We're a mess. We're 2020. We're hashtag 2020. That's what's going on right now. Here, let me call her back and see and get her on. Hope it fixes it. Sorry, guys. I know today's a different day than what it normally happens when we do a live. Let's see. Speak up. Okay. Can you hear me now? No. I can hear you, but just it's so low and it's so funny and so not funny. No. I mean, I can hear you, but not very loud.
So it was good, and then now it's
It was fine, and then it's almost like the volume got turned down.
I bullshit.
Oh, how funny! Oh, how funny! Do you have your computer in front of you?
Yeah, I'm still right here.
Just get on there. Just get on there, and then I'll call you back from your computer. I'm gonna do a couple of readings, and then I'll call you right back. Okay. Get on your computer on Skype. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, it's just me for right now. I hope y'all can cope with me. Just me. All right. So I'm gonna do some readings for y'all because y'all are probably like, Fernie, I'm waiting for my reading. I'm coming, y'all. I'm coming. So I'm going through here. So I'm gonna bounce over and get to some of y'all here. So how's your Stephanie? How's your quarantine going? My quarantine's going great. Thank you for asking. I'm really blessed. So I actually am really like appreciative of my quarantine situation because it's really been a super much of a blessing. Okay, here's a question from Jessica. Move this over here so y'all can see Jessica's question. So Jessica Gonzalez, do you see us closing on this house we are trying to get, and what will I be having, a boy or a girl? The house that you're trying to get, I do think you're going to close on it, but I think you might have to. Y'all may need to go back over and correct or change some of the documentation about the loan or about the financing because there may be some things there that probably need to be addressed. So that may be something that holds y'all up or delays the process, but I still think y'all will go ahead and close on that property. So I think you will be able to close. I want to give it. I feel like the closing process will take about 6 weeks total. So I don't know where you are along in that 6. You normally like a closing with a house is about four weeks or about a month, depending on how fast your realtor is or how fast the what is it? The people who deal with the paperwork. I feel like yours is going to take about 6 weeks. So it's going to be about 6 weeks for you to get through the closing process. Okay. Ryan. Jenna Thompson, I'd like to know if our next grandbaby will be a boy or a girl. I actually think it will be a boy. So I'm kind of feeling a boy's vibe or a boy or male energy. So I'm thinking it's going to be a boy. Kai. Hey, Kai. Can you tell me the name of my spirit guides? Yes. The name of your spirit guides. You have two spirit guides, two primary guides. Your main guide's name is I want to say it's Ashton. 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 So I want to say it's Ashton. The other guide is a female. Her name is Miranda, like Miranda, like from what is that movie called? The Devil Wears Prada, Miranda. So it's like Miranda. So you've got two guides there. Stephanie Lerma. Hello, Fernie. Do you see me getting pregnant in the next few months? I think I'm not feeling that in the next few months. Yeah, I want to say that you might luck out probably around December. If not December, I wouldn't say January. So around that December-January timeframe is when I'm seeing baby energy around you. So I think it's probably going to happen around that time frame. Okay. Higher self, Leah. Hi, Fernie. When will I find my husband? I feel like you will find your husband. I think it's going to take about 2 years and 3 months. So I want to kind of put it. It's between 2 years and 3 months and 2 years and 5 months. Around there is when I'm kind of seeing that vibe. Person's name starts with an R. I want to say it's RH. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like an RH kind of name. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get Michelle back here. See if I can get her on here for a second. There you are. I can hear you fine now.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
Now, my telephone.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. The video is better. The video quality is so much better than it was before.
Okay, let me pause the video. I was watching it.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God. Yeah. The video quality is so much better. The lighting's better. You look really great. So, wow. That's awesome.
Well, let's for my every time I try to mute this, just today in electronics. Anyway, shit.
Mm-hmm. Is Mercury retrograde? I think that maybe that's the issue. Mercury is in retrograde now again.
Oh, but the sun is trine Chiron, so we're supposed to be out of our skin. I guess wasting our time doing this today, Fernando.
Oh, I know, right? Okay. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. Okay, so earlier this week you had made a comment, and I was like, oh, I want to talk about this on Saturday because a lot of people have this idea about soulmates and twin flames. So tell me what you were thinking, because I know I went on Instagram and I blew you. What you said is I blew it up. I blew up the theory or the idea behind soulmates and twin flames.
So I want to know, I want to talk about it more because so many psychics, so many spiritual people, I'm in all the girl groups, and that's really one of the main things that they talk about. Just freaking, where is my soul twin? Where is my twin flame? And it's is it a thing? I was taught certain.
Yeah. Well, the way that I feel about that, because I totally bought into the whole soulmate and twin flame thing as well. When I was in my teens and my 20s, I was like, oh my God, where's my soulmate or where's my twin flame? And the word twin flame it's kind of a bounce off from the idea of soulmates, because people got on the soulmate bandwagon. And then after that kind of, people got tired of that, then they kind of moved over to the twin flame, which is another, it's a rebranding of it. Here's the thing. I feel like it's utter bullshit in the way that most people understand it. And what I mean by that is, in the world, in the universe, in the world, when you come into life, there is the opportunity to connect with others in a way where there really is this sync up that happens here, and you will have unlimited opportunities like that, but most people don't see that. Most people don't understand that. Most people think that there's only one other person in the universe I'm supposed to be with, and I'm supposed to be with that person for all eternity, or there's just one person in the world that I'm meant that is going to be a good fit for me. Everybody else is trash, right? And I'm like, no, you're first of all, you're setting yourself up for failure. Secondly, you're basically telling the universe that if this person isn't perfect or fit within a certain spectrum or scheme, it's not going to serve me, and I'm not going to go for it. And so that tends to be the case. And so what I tell people is, if you really want to connect with someone or have that bond with others, you need to just see yourself as having unlimited potentials. There's unlimited people out there. And I think now with social media and how we can connect with people around the world, it's even more of a reality for us now, because we can connect with people. We don't have to be in the same general area or vicinity. And now with COVID, it's even more of a reality for people to meet online, because they can't really meet in person if they're in lockdown. So it just depends on the situation. But in the world, for example, let's use myself as an example. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of potential quote unquote soulmates or twin flames that I can connect with here. And it's just a unique energy that is from a spectrum. It's on the same wavelength as me. So we kind of link up or sync in that way. The concept of a soulmate, though, and I think this is where people get confused, is the idea that my soul is supposed to be married or have this other person that's like the other part of myself. So that's where people would think of like twin flame or my other half or whatever. The fact that you have to think of yourself as like an incomplete person or a half of anything is bullshit, because you're not a half of a person. You're not an incomplete person. You're exactly who you're supposed to be. You're exactly what you're supposed to be right now. And so you're not supposed to think of yourself as a half of a person, because you're exactly how you should be in this world and in this reality. Our soul is a higher part of ourselves. It's like a higher aspect of our nature. So for me, for example, I'm Ferny. My spirit is Ferny. I'm in this physical body, etc. When I die, the spirit Ferny will reabsorb back into the soul, and the soul, we call that the cloud. It's the part of us that collects all of the data, all of the information from all the different lifetimes that we've lived. So that soul is a being unto itself, and it is much grander and bigger than Ferny. So when we think of the idea of a soulmate, there are other souls whose vibration is similar to ours, in that there are certain things that we are both working on and working towards from this physical plane of existence. And when we're down here, my soul coming through me, which is Ferny, I can connect with someone else who's linked up to their soul, and our souls are on the same wavelength. So we have something that is pulling us together. But usually that tends to be because we're learning things from each other, or we have experiences that we can give each other. And so we're always going to feel pulled to those people that are going to give us the opportunities to express and to understand and to grow and to evolve. That doesn't mean it's going to be a positive experience or a negative experience. It just means that it's going to be an opportunity to grow on this level. If you want to line up with someone who's a good fit or a good match for you, that has more to do with energy and vibration and like what you're trying to link up with, what you're trying to sync up to. Twin flame is the same concept of the soulmate. It's just rebranded and repurposed.
So pretty much don't need to continue to focus on finding your soulmate.
Right. These people who are like, I'm going to say no to anybody and everybody that is not my soulmate, they're setting themselves up for failure. It's almost like, it reminds me of the old adage, like you're in your house, it's flooding, you get on top of your roof, and you Houston folks can, understand this. So it's flooding, you get on the top of your roof, you're waiting, you're asking God, send me the thing that's going to save me. Send me my perfect boat. It has to be a ship. It has to have all of these luxurious things. It has to be perfect. Send me this perfect ship to save me from this flood. And so a guy in a raft goes by and, hey, do you need some help? No, I think God's got me. I'm waiting for the perfect ship. I'm waiting for my soulmate, right? And so then they go by, and then there's another person. They're in a rowboat. Hey, you need some help? You look like you need, your boat's kind of dingy. I don't really trust it, so I'm gonna like let you go. And then someone comes along in a speedboat and it's got an engine, and you're like, that's not the cruise, that's not the luxurious thing I was expecting, this is not the perfect thing, and then that goes by, and then people are like, God, why have you just abandoned me? I've never had anybody come into my life and I'm alone for the rest of it. Like, girl, you had like 3 options, and even though they weren't all perfect options, they would have done something for you on a soul level, on a spiritual level. You would have gained from that experience, and everyone is an opportunity to level it up. I mean, even if I would have jumped into that tire, that floaty with that guy who was on that little inflatable raft, I mean, that's something, right? That's an opportunity to like get out of where I was stuck in. And so he can probably take me over to somebody else's house who had a nicer boat with an engine, and then I would have been able to evolve to that. And people are always like, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to date someone and waste my time if it's not going to be the perfect relationship or going to lead to a lifelong relationship. And I'm just like, what the hell kind of a reality are you living in? Like, how do you think you're going to learn what a real relationship should look like? How do you think you're going to learn unless you had parents who exemplified the ideal relationship, which most of us haven't? How the hell do you think you're going to learn what is appropriate and what is healthy in a relationship and what isn't? Right? So go ahead. Yeah.
What you want.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's why you to have that same, nope, because I'm like never really being specific and honest with myself about what it is that I really, really care.
Right.
Because I keep trying to hold up to these standards of society that says, you can do it, you're all right, you don't need this, maybe I don't need that, but what I desire is this, And I have to be able to accept that in myself, because I think
Right.
a lot of us are looking for specifically what society told us to do, and we don't know who we are.
Right.
So then we're looking for somebody's ego instead
Right.
of what we really, really desire. So it's a lot, child.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I choose to see every relationship as a learning experience. And even if it doesn't work out, you're going to learn something about yourself. You're going to learn about what your limits are, what you are able to do, what you're not able to do. You know, you're going to learn who you're not and then learn who you are. Before my current partner, because my partner and I've been together for about like 12 years, or we're going on 12 years now. But before this relationship, I was in a really toxic and just like overly dramatic relationship with my ex, and that was 4 years of just craziness. Before that relationship, there had been several guys that had come along who were pretty incredible, and I just didn't see it because I was under the impression that I was supposed to end up with someone who's supposed to be the perfect fit for me, or the perfect thing that I would be, desiring or whatever. And I met plenty of guys who were really great guys, but I didn't see the value in them. I didn't see the worth. I didn't see what I could do to benefit from that. So I always had like a checklist of like, well, you don't have this, or you're pigeon-toed, I can't date you, or like the stupidest superficial reasons for not evolving it into a relationship that could be something beautiful. So I had all these weird issues and hiccups and stuff. Then I got with my ex, and that changed everything, because in that relationship I learned who I wasn't, and I had to like figure myself out and figure out who I was and how I was contributing to that toxic relationship. Once I got out of that, I was more than ready for any of the guys that I had dated previously. Like I was like, oh, I'm like, y'all are like Kool-Aid compared to this person that I was with. That's just dirty water, and when you're thirsty, you drink water, you drink the dirty water when you're thirsty, but that doesn't mean you should spend the rest of your life drinking the dirty water. And that's how I felt. And so after that relationship ended, I was more than ready and prepared for something that was definitely on a whole nother level. And then I met my partner, and that just like took off really quickly. And it is still, I'm grateful, because I feel when I see other people in their relationships, I'm like, every relationship has its issues. Every relationship has things that it can work on or improve on. But with my partner, it's like, no, you're great. You're a catch. Like regardless, you're still a catch to me. So I don't need to mess with that. And so I think for people, they need to understand that sometimes you think you know what you want until you experience what you don't want. And then that should teach you and help you to understand what you really, really are needing instead of what you thought was important. So that's why I tell people, even if you're just going to date, it's not a waste of your time. Let it help you to figure some things out. And then you will line up with something that will be a good fit for you. But don't go around thinking that I'm supposed to have the soulmate or this one person that's perfect for me. And the universe is, God is punishing me because I haven't met this one person. Well, are you a crappy person yourself? Do you have issues with your attitude? Do you have a negative mindset? Do you need to look at yourself and how you've contributed to these relationships? Because when it comes down to it, a lot of people like to demonize the ex or the person that didn't work out with, because maybe that person decided, you know what, you're a mess. I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Bye. And then they leave the relationship, and people want to like demonize that person. Like that person's awful, or they're horrible, or they're evil, and they used me and they treated me badly. I'm like, baby girl, look at yourself, because you basically just said, I'm not responsible for the relationships or who I am in relationships. They are, and they left me, so they're wrong and they're evil and they're bad. And I'm just like, okay, girl, like I'm gonna need you to get a reality check real soon, because you're contributing to your own issues, your own problems, and you're not taking responsibility for that. If you want a healthy relationship, if you want a good connection, then offer it. If you can't offer it, then shut your mouth and prepare to be alone for the rest of your life, or settle down for the toxic relationship that you can only get, because that's what you're going to end up with, Yeah.
Yeah. That's really important part, I think, of clearing yourself and getting yourself ready for a relationship is recognizing he lives in you.
Yeah.
I can't keep saying, well, these people keep showing up. No, they're attracted to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's like out of alignment. So, people need to really respect that and say, okay, well, maybe I need to spend some time with myself to find out what I need to fix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or where I'm suffering, or where I'm like, because I know for me, my self-esteem has not always been where it needs to be.
Right.
So of course I'm like, yes, you there, down there,
right,
come up here, me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So I just need to, like, spend some time with myself. I think it's important that we remember that, acknowledge it, and respect it. And like you said, stop blaming everything on the partner.
Well, another thing about it is that when you do shift energy, like, people recognize and notice it. I think when I first started learning how to love myself, like authentically loving myself, I'm not talking about like, oh, look, you're so cute. Oh, look, you're so beautiful. Oh, look at you, Ferny. That's not what I'm talking about when I say learning to love yourself. That's a superficial love. It's not authentic. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like, ooh, wow, I look great. There's nothing wrong with that. But authentic love, you don't have to constantly tell yourself that you're this or that. You just feel love for yourself, and you're going to do whatever you have to do to take care of yourself, to protect yourself, and to provide yourself with nurturing experiences, and surrounding yourself with people that are only going to be authentic, or at least show up, And yes, granted, we all have situations where we have to deal with family, and not everybody that we deal with in family is, a great person, and it's not the easiest to deal with. But still, like, when you authentically love yourself, all of a sudden something shifts inside of you, something energetically moves. And what tends to happen is you start to see people coming to you, or approaching you, or being drawn to you, who just naturally want to love you and naturally want to feel that love, and they feel it from you, and they want to give it back as well. So I think today, growing up as a young gay guy, like, I was constantly trying to feel like I was worthy, or I was attractive, or whatever. Now I'm like, I'm just me, and take it or leave it. I love you all. I'm going to give you the very best of me that I can give you, but I'm going to probably disappoint you all at some point. I'm going to probably piss you off at some point, but I still love you, and I'm still going to give you what I want and what I need to give you. But now people, like, they just show up with love. And like, even just like when I get on an appointment with a client, and the first person that I see, like, there's just this, immediately I already know I love you. Like, I love you, and I'm here to love you. I'm not here to hurt you. And you can feel that energy, like, coming back from them. And so when you get used to that, all of a sudden the people around you, in everyday experiences, you just start to encounter more people like that.
You better.
So I had a really good e-reading question this week. One of my the e-reading people. So people, like, whenever, like, for people who don't know what an e-reading is, people who want a reading but they don't have time to wait for me to have an opening for the appointment, or they want to just ask me and they want a short, like, return, they can do an e-reading, which is like 70. You get your answer back in 72 hours. But with the e-reading, people can ask me all kinds of questions, and some people ask some really great questions sometimes. And one of the questions that I got this week was someone who said, "How can I cope and move on from a really bad relationship or toxic relationship?" And that's a really good question, because a lot of people get stuck in old energy, and they get stuck on somebody and they can't move forward. Like, I know people who have been stuck on someone for 15, 20 years. And they're like, "Ferny, is this person going to come back into my life?" I'm like, "Baby girl, it's been 15 to 20 years. You need to move on, because you had a taste of something." Like, it's almost like I walked into the Costco. The lady was out with her samples, and I had this little piece of chocolate that she was like sampling out. And oh my God, it was the best piece of chocolate I ever had. But it's just like one little bite. It wasn't like a whole meal. And so ever since then, that person has been stuck on that one piece of chocolate. And so the rest of their life, they're walking around, when am I going to get like something delicious like that piece of chocolate? But they're stuck in that one piece. I'm like, well, you absorbed that, you gobbled it up, you had the experience you were supposed to have with that. And so they're stuck on those relationships, and they don't know how to move forward and move past it. And what I say is, well, first, let me ask you, because I mean, you recently went through a little bit of a split with somebody, and what has been helping you like work through that?
My music. I play songs that remind me that I'm that bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I for me, every time I break up, it was always like, I'm terrible. Nobody will like me. Nobody will ever love me. Blah blah blah. I don't have time for that shit. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so how do I keep myself moving forward? Because I mean, I'm allowed to feel feelings and to have sad, because we spent time together. Yeah. You know, there was bonding, but I have to also recognize the trauma in that bond. So what were we bonding over? What were we healing? What were we doing? What work were we taking part in? So, you know, reflection and self-acceptance, self-love, and, you know, just really realizing that, like, I probably need to spend some time by myself. I have like 12,000 balls in the air I'm trying to juggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get myself on the level
Mm-hmm.
and balance it so that the next time somebody comes, there's no wobble for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think for me, what helped me out of the toxic relationship, I actually just started jogging and using music. And what I would do, and my approach is more like spiritual visual, because I really believe in the power of visualization with music. You know, a lot of people who they practice like law of attraction or manifestation, they just focus on like visualizing, like I'm going to visualize that car and it's going to like come, it's going to come to me. I'm like, okay, good luck, girl, you know? But for me, that visualization with music is what really helps me to move forward and to thrust myself forward. I think like I was obsessed with Kelly Clarkson when I ended that toxic relationship, because she had just come out with that album, and there was a lot of good songs on there. And I think one of them was something to do with being toxic or something like that. But anyways, I would get in my car, I would drive to my first job, which was at that time I was working at a doctor's office, at a podiatrist's office. And so I would drive to work and I would listen to the Kelly Clarkson album, and I would cry the entire way to work, because I just felt just empty and alone and rejected. And I didn't know the value of my own worth. I didn't know my own worth and value. So I felt the emptiness inside. And people tend to use relationships to fill them up because they don't know how to fill themselves up. And so that's what I had used that relationship as a way to fill myself up. So when it was gone, I felt completely devoid and like something was missing in my life. And so I would go and drive to work, and I'd listen to Kelly Clarkson. And then I'd get into work, dry my tears, walk in there. Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. You know, be Ferny for whatever I had to be for that day. Get done with work, jump in my car, drive over to my second job, which was Starbucks at the time. And so I would cry all the way to my second job. And then I would get into the parking lot, dry my eyes, pull it together, and then I'd go and start working at Starbucks and, you know, making lattes and stuff. So that's pretty much what I did to get through that for the first 2 or 3 weeks. And that's not a bad way to deal with it. But then once you get past like the immediate loss and the immediate pain, you have to deal with what that brought up within you. And most of us don't realize that relationships bring up a lot within us. And for me, the person that I was with represented my father, who I never knew my father. My mother had me out of wedlock because he was married and she was his mistress. So I never knew my father. He wanted her to have an abortion, and she said no because she was Catholic, Mexican Catholic, so they don't do that. But so I never met my father. And then the stepfather that came into my life several years later was very abusive, and so that just beat my ego and my sense of self and value down even more. And then when that situation ended, and then I continued to be bullied in school because I was gay or because of this or because of that. Oh, you're effeminate, or you talk like this or whatever. So I had to deal with all these male rejection scenarios where they were treating me like crap or abusing me or whatever. And then I was also molested as well as a child. So you add all of that in and it can do a real number on you. So when I got into that relationship, this person was the same background as my stepfather, who was very abusive. And this person also had, even though he embodied a sense of dominance and control, it wasn't like dominance and control, like I got your back and I've got this. Like, don't worry, I got this. It was more like, you need to do what I want you to do. This is, he always used to say this thing. He says, I am the head, you are the neck. I call the shots. You turn me in the direction you think you want me to go, but I'm the one that's at the top. And so that was always his saying. And so for me, it was like, okay, but I got used to that because I was raised and conditioned into that growing up. So it was a really hard relationship to work through, and it was a lot of toxicity that I had to work through. But it brought up all this stuff within me that I didn't even realize I was holding on to, and it made me face it. And so instead of feeding into more abuse, more self-worth issues, more of that, instead of feeding into that, I was like, you know what, motherfuckers? All of y'all in my past, all of you, starting from my ex, going all the way back to my father, all of you motherfuckers, y'all didn't believe in me. Y'all didn't think I would be anything. Y'all acted like I was nothing and I was trash. Let me fucking show you what I can do. And so that was my mindset. And so at that point, I was like, all right, motherfuckers, like I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to show y'all who I am and what I'm capable of, because no one here believes that I can be something. So let me just show y'all what I can be. And then I busted my ass and moved forward. But it really did. It was a mental shift. And I used that one experience to kind of thrust myself in another direction. I could have easily gone into the victim state, because that's what we all tend to do, right? We're like, I'm the victim. I'm the one that the universe is picking on. I'm the one that is being, abused and treated this way. And I have no control and no power. And it's just all coming down on me. And I was tired of that because I'd been that for so long in my life. And so I was like, no, I'm going to take this in another direction. That's what I did. And I would go jogging in the park and I would listen to some of my favorite music. Like Adele's Hello, I think, was coming out at that time. And so I would imagine, yes. And so like I would jog and I would be jogging and I'd be listening to my music, and I would imagine that my heart would open up, and inside of my heart was this darkness that was there from all of these relationships with males across the board. And what I would do is I would jog and I would see that darkness in my heart, and I would envision or visualize it starting to come away from my heart, and this black darkness was coming and coming, and I would just release it and let it go up. And I would imagine like the light of God coming down on me and raising that out of me, and I would just envision it raising it out of me, and then I would just send it back. I'm like, here you go, send it to whoever created this within me. I'm sending it back to where it came from. And so I would listen to this music, Hello from the Other Side, and like, because I am on the other side, and I'm not going to be up in there with y'all. I'm going to be up on the other side. And that's what I did. And I did that every single day for like 60 days. And at the end of that 60-day period, first of all, I had lost like 50 pounds. So that was a great way to do it. Because I was doing it like once, twice a day, every day. Because it was therapy for me. Just even walking in the park and listening to it, the visualization is helpful. And so I did that. And then so I lost all that weight. So I felt even better about myself, because not only did I start to feel lighter and like I was releasing something, but I also had an incredible, like I had a new body, and I was like, oh my God, like I feel great about myself. I was getting attention again. So that was fueling some of that self-worth and value, but I was already building it from within. And so as time went on, I didn't feel angry anymore, and I wasn't mad, and I wasn't like, I actually got to a point where I was grateful for the experiences, because every one of those taught me something, and it taught me who I wasn't, and it taught me what I needed to do in certain situations to protect myself or to love myself more than the other person was able to love me. Because sometimes when you're in a relationship, if someone doesn't know how to love you, then set the example and show them how to love you by loving yourself the way you need to be loved. And you set the example, not by saying, look, you're not treating me the way you should, and you're responsible for the crap in this relationship, and you're the reason why this relationship isn't working. No. Just treat yourself the way you would like to be treated, and hold that to the standard, and show them the example of how they should treat you, because they might actually rise to the occasion and become that. If they don't, then they don't. But at least you are in the face of it, not transforming yourself to like accommodate that person's bullshit.
Right. I mean, so essentially that means sometimes you have to walk away if that relationship is not working for you.
Yeah.
Because really, you're the only person that can protect you from anything.
Right.
And you don't love yourself, which is what we're all really working through, because we all had a trauma, that has kind of put us in that spot at some point.
Right.
Like, you have to decide that you're going to be your own hero.
Right.
You have to. And I think that's just where I'm at right now. It's like, I have to say, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. And, if something doesn't, like, I can't be worried about whether or not I'm going to make an enemy out of it. Like, okay, sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But it takes practice, because this is easier said than done. And I mean, this is something I had to learn through experience, because you can read a book, but when you're in the moment and you're dealing with the pain, people just immediately surrender into the pain, and they get stuck in that, and they don't know how to overcome the pain, because all they're trying to do is just stop the pain. And so people's immediate reaction is, what can I do to stop the pain? Well, I'm feeling pain because this person's not in my life. Let me get back with that person or make that work so I don't have to feel the pain. And what I would say is, make peace with the pain and learn to love your pain, because once you get past that initial period of discomfort and loss, you're going to start to examine some things and see some things in a very different way. And then that will help you to rise to the occasion of what the universe is calling of you in the moment, by just giving you this experience to begin with.
Right. Okay. Drop a bomb. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
but that you're so right. And yesterday I was listening to Esther Abraham. I'm obsessed with her, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But just listening to her talk about relationships, it's like they're supposed to be temporary, you guys. It's not supposed to be like, okay, this is my forever lover. Like, that's fine in fantasy, I think, most of the time. But if you're constantly changing, you cannot expect everybody that you're always with to stay with you. Because if they can't vibe with you, it will break apart.
Yeah.
You know, it won't last.
Right.
So if people don't rise, you can't go together.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Well, and I don't know a lot of couples who have been married for as long as like 40, 50, 60 years who did not go through trials of their own, who, there are very few of those where they didn't have any issues. Every time you talk to those people or you get to know those people, something happened at some point and they had to work through it. They had to really push through the issue or the challenges. So people think like, and it's the wording of the way that people word their questions. Ferny, when am I going to get married and finally be happy? And I'm like, oh, baby girl. Like, if you think that happiness is coming from a relationship, you are going to be sorely disappointed because it is not someone else's responsibility to make you happy. You need to learn what happiness is without needing somebody to make that happen for you. So when you do find someone that you match up with or do well with, then at least you can share the happiness with them and they can also share their happiness with you. But if you're like in with somebody and you're like, when are they going to make me happy, or am I going to finally be happy? I'm just like, well, first of all, this planet Earth, we came here to struggle as humans. It's part of the experience of being a spirit in a human physical environment. But you can find real love. You can find authentic love. You can find love that will last a long time and probably the remainder of your life, but you have to make sure that you understand what that includes and what comes along with that. It's like, I want to have children and be a perfect mom. I'm like, okay, but you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights. Your children are going to make you crazy. That something's going to happen when you give them birth and it ain't going to be fun to go through that, right? And if you know any women who have had fun giving birth, you let me know because I want to interview them. But, it's painful. It's a painful experience, but something beautiful is created from a painful experience. In relationships, it's the same thing. You're going to go through painful experiences, but something beautiful can come from that if you're committed to it. And if both people are on the same page. If one person isn't, let them go. Let them go because at least you know what to recognize in some of those signs that they may have been showing you that you refuse to see because you were so in love with the idea of what y'all could have together instead of actually working together to create something together. It's almost like, oh, Ferny, no, I ain't got time to be wasting with people. Like, this is what I wanted to do when I'm 31. And then when I'm 35, I wanted to have the perfect twins. And I'm just like, okay, well, you're probably not going to be happy in your relationships and you're probably going to be very disappointed because you're completely living in a bubble of unreality and you got to get realistic. You know who I blame for this? I blame The Notebook. I blame I blame The Notebook. I blame Michelle and Barack because they seem to have a power couple relationship, and not everybody's relationship can be like Michelle and Barack. Some people got Oprah and Stedman relationships where they don't get married but they're together forever and they love each other. Some people have relationships where it's really not the healthiest situation, but they end up sticking it out anyways. I have a cousin and he and his wife, they got together when they were teenagers and it was a crazy ass relationship. She tried to run him over once and he broke his legs. Crazy relationship, but they're still together to this day. And I can honestly say that they love each other because they were young and they didn't know what was healthy and what wasn't, and they kind of had to learn over time what was healthy and what wasn't, but they were both committed to sticking it out with each other and they stayed together. That's not what I would suggest people do. I don't think y'all should run each other over to learn lessons. I think that you can be healthy and you can put a stop to certain things, and I honestly think they should have broken up a long time ago. But today they're in a different place, but they stuck it out and they worked through stuff. But a lot of these couples that have been together for 40, 50 years, they work through their shit, and that's what really helps them. But they're realistic, and once it's like people, when they go into the relationship, they have an idea of what it should be like, and then reality hits, and they're like, oh, now I have to decide if I want a real relationship or if I want the ideal, because this person isn't the ideal, right?
Mm-hmm. And real relationships take work. You can't always just have fun.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're talking about being together and like
Yeah.
really growing and building something,
Yeah.
then prepare to pull some weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like somebody stretch on both sides. And if you're saying what you want is love, and as long as it's not outside of your boundaries, then if you're resisting it, are you ready for a relationship? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Well, tell everybody how to find you because you're gonna have some people looking you up and trying to figure out who you are and what the hell you're doing here. So tell people how to find you.
So you all can find me on Instagram at Between Us Girls Podcast and at, well, it used to be at MS Creative AF, but I just changed it to fit my other name. It is at JEHOSHBA, Jehoshua, but I couldn't spell it out because somebody else took it. Figures.
Awesome.
But anyway, and sometimes I have messages, so you can follow me.
Yeah. Well, and I y'all might be wondering like, what is Ferny doing right now? What's going on here? So what's happening is we're working on a show, and this is going to be part of that show. And so we're going to be doing this every single Saturday, and we'll be picking a topic and talking about stuff. I'll be sharing one e-reading question that I got that week, so that y'all can learn from it as well. And by the way, anything that I share is I've got permission to share it from the people who gave me the question. But we're going to be focusing on topics every week, focusing on like living a human life with spiritual principles and incorporating some of that as well, being real, dealing with real issues, but also just kind of having a little bit more fun, talking about stuff the way we've been talking about. And then I will start doing y'all's readings, but we're going to take this part of the live and we're going to use it for a show. So that's what's going on here. So we're going to be doing this every Saturday, y'all. So this is a Saturday thing now. So get used to it, but Michelle will be on as often as possible. And if she's not on, then I will have somebody else on. If not, y'all may just have to deal with me by myself. Good luck with that because y'all don't think y'all gonna be able to handle this jelly. So yeah. Well, thank you, Mama, for being on. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I will talk to you when I get done with this.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you, Ferny.
Bye, baby girl. All right, y'all. So it's just me now. So, all right. So let's do readings now because I know y'all are like, Ferny, like, I have questions. Okay. So I'm going to be bouncing around here. I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just going to go and connect with whoever I want to connect with or whoever I feel connected to. And that way I can go ahead and start lining up with the energy of this because this is like I got to make a mental shift here. Okay, so let's see this topic. Okay. Here's a good question. This one's for I believe it's Leah. If I mispronounce it, please excuse me, Leah. Hello, Ferny. In my dream, my guide told me there's something I'm not seeing with my partner. What was she referring to? I believe that your guide is talking about your partner's emotional, mental place. So I think that what you need to do is you really need to connect with your partner and then figure out what they're going through or what's happening because I feel that emotionally, mentally, something's changed or something's going on there and they're not expressing to you. And I think your guide is trying to give you a heads up because you might be in a position to make it easier or make it better. And I don't want you to have to deal with a situation where they're pulling away or disconnecting. So I would suggest you like have a good one-on-one, talk to them and see if you can maybe get them to open up because if you can get them to open up, first of all, it's going to help your relationship because it'll improve the communication ability, but also it will allow you to hopefully work with them to work on the issue that they're dealing with. But I think you need to sit down and talk to them. I also think it might have something to do with finances because I keep seeing money around it, that it may have to do with a financial issue around the partnership. Okay. Let's go around here because I got to catch up here. I know a bunch of y'all have questions. Husband here, Amanda Rios. Hi, Ferny. How are you? Are there any messages for my husband from his brother that has passed? Thank you in advance. Yes. So immediately, it's so interesting because first of all, there's a picture of them together where I don't know if they're trying to be silly or they're trying to act like they're hood or they're trying to like pretend like it's not even like I have like certain signs or whatever. It's almost like I'm like this. So there's a picture of them and the brother is acknowledging that picture. He's making fun of it. So there's a reference there. He also keeps acknowledging There's also another picture where there were kids, and they were, I don't know if they were like, one of them was like naked or in the bathtub or playing in the bathroom, or they were in the bathtub or taking a shower or whatever. But there might be another picture of them like being silly or being funny. So there's another image as well. The brother is acknowledging the number 11, so the 11th of a month or November is going to be significant. So either the 11th of a month or November is connected. He also keeps acknowledging that he's putting something around his neck, but he's making me feel like being made. So I don't know if y'all are planning on making a memorial necklace, or there's a necklace that is going to be made into something else or turned into something else, but that's what I'm seeing as well. So there might be a reference to that as well. I also keep feeling the brother is wanting your husband to, he's actually saying thank you. So he's acknowledging and he's saying thank you. And it has something to do with where he is. So wherever his remains are, your husband may have actually talked to him in private or tried to communicate with him in private about that. And so he's acknowledging the private conversation, or the conversation that they may have had, that he's acknowledging like, I heard you, I heard you, I heard you. But it was like around the remains. So if he was buried, it would have been at the cemetery. If he was cremated, then it would be the cremated. But I'm thinking it's like cemetery. So he's acknowledging something like that as well. Also, he keeps showing me a drink. So I don't know if he's a bit of a drinker, or your husband gave him or like had a drink to him and say, I'm gonna have a shot to you. And so he's acknowledging something like that. Okay. Rowena put, today my brother passed 8 years. Love and message from him. Thank you. Yes. Hi, Rowena. So he is showing me balloons. So I don't know if y'all release balloons for him, or if you're around a birthday right now. Because normally when I see balloons, it's usually releasing something for someone, like balloons, or there's a birthday right around now. So there's an acknowledgement there. So I don't know if you're celebrating a birthday or within 30 days there is a birthday, but he's referencing that. He also keeps acknowledging that he did show up in a dream. So there's at least one dream that he's acknowledging, or that he has come through and communicated with. That conversation, the dream might have had something to do with the parents though. So I don't know if y'all were going through some issues with your parents or something was going on there, but your brother's acknowledging like there was a dream and there was something about the parents that he was trying to like say it was going to be okay, or like things are going to work out, but he was just trying to acknowledge and like not worry y'all. He also is pointing to himself. Usually when someone does that, it means either they caused their own passing or they contributed to their own demise, but he's acknowledging that as well. So he's bringing that up also. But he is fine. He is okay. He is with you. Also, you might hear or feel something funny in your ear sometime, or hear something in your ear, and that's him. That's coming from him. So he's just letting you know that he's around and he's trying to get your attention. Okay. Katie Greenwood has a good question. Can your loved ones who have passed on help you with finding motivation or inspiration while banned after dealing? While banned? I don't know what that means. After dealing with the loss, inspiration while still dealing after the loss. Yes. So here's the thing. Like they are trying to help us to do two things. And I've actually found this to be a trend and a theme over and over and over again when it comes to people who have passed away. They either want us to be okay and to know that they are fine. That's either one of the main messages that they try to come through with, or they're trying to give us strength and the energy to get through the things we need to get through in our lives. Because a lot of people want to think of their loved ones as if they're protecting them from harm, or they're protecting them and keeping them safe from any issues or problems in life. That's not really accurate. They're not, once they pass on, their work here is done. Like they're done having a human experience. They still love us. They still want us to know and feel that connection. And they always want us to remember that we are connected to each other and that we are all one and we're connected to the universe or God. But they also know that sometimes we need a little bit of a kick in the butt, or we need a little bit of a push with certain things in our lives. For me, what I found is that whenever I'm going through something difficult or something traumatic or something that I'm not sure how to feel about, if I ask them to just help me through it, they'll usually, and notice the wording, fix it for me is not what you should be asking them for. You still have to live your human life. You're still here for a very specific reason. Don't ask your loved ones to bail you out of your own issues, because that's not their responsibility. That's your responsibility. But you can ask them to help you through it. And what I mean by helping you through it is, we still hear our loved ones in our head. Just because I'm a medium doesn't mean that there's something very unique or special about me. There really isn't. I always tell my clients, like, you're no different than I. You can hear your loved ones the exact same way I can hear your loved ones. The only difference is you have memories that they're using to communicate with you. I don't have those memories. I have random thoughts and ideas and emotions and my own memories. So they have to use that to help me understand something. But for you, they're going to immediately go into a memory and they're going to use that. So you may have a random memory of your loved one pop up in your head when you weren't even thinking about them or doing something that had to do with them, and they suddenly pop into your head and you feel them and you just feel the love. Or you might have a memory pop up of them telling you something that y'all talked about that you need to do, and that's their way of guiding you by using the memory that they have with you to get you to understand a piece of information. So they're always trying to give us guidance and support us with our life. They're not here to bail us out of our life's circumstances and situations. So that's something that is not their responsibility. That is our responsibility. But when we are going through a loss, typically in the first few weeks, few months, people tend to have more experiences or message or signs from them, because they're still like, they just passed. So they're still basically, they're fresh off the bus, in other words. So because they're fresh off the human bus, there's still a connection there. The energy is still somewhat associated with this physical world. So it gives them more of an ability to give us signs and to show us through physical things happening. As time goes on and they have been gone longer, they start to ascend and they get higher and higher in vibration and frequency. And so it's going to be harder for them to give us those signs. We may still get them, but it's going to be a little harder for them because their energy has gotten higher and we don't really operate on that spectrum. We're here in the lower vibration having this experience. And so for someone who's passed away, they can help us to cope and to work through some of that by still giving us a sense that they're still with us, but we still have to grieve. We still have to make peace with the fact that they're not here in this physical world anymore. The thing about it is, doing this work for as long as I've done it now and having been a medium for as long as I have been, I don't really fear like death. I don't have no fear of death whatsoever. And whenever someone passes, it doesn't really affect me the same way that it would have years ago. Granted, if my partner passed, my mom passed, my sister passed, one of my closest cousins, or my mama cat passed, I'd be a mess for several weeks, if not for a few months. But for the most part, when someone passes, they're just going over to the other side. They're just like switching gears and going over to a different room. That's all they're doing. And so the way I choose to think of it is like, let's say that loved one just retired. They just retired from life. They have the opportunity to go to this island, but the island doesn't have phones. They don't have phones. They don't have internet there. So all they can do is they can hopefully they can maybe like, start a fire and like start a smoke signal or something. And we might get a signal every now and then that they're okay and they're there, but we're not going to have that everyday communication with them the way that we did when they were alive, because they've retired. They're done. So they no longer are part of this world. And so they're just on that island. But when you're done and your time's gone, you're going to join them on that island as well. So they're not gone. They haven't disappeared. And I think that's what makes it hard for people, is because it feels like they're gone and they're never coming back, but they still exist. They're not gone. They're just not in the form that you're used to dealing with them. So it's just a change there. Okay. Let's see. Texas Beauty. Hi, Ferny. Any messages from my mom since this is my birthday month? Happy birthday. So your month, she is acknowledging, thank you. She is acknowledging two things that would go around the wrist. I don't know if you have two bracelets or if you have two things that would be go around the wrist that would be connected to mom, but she's acknowledging that. She also keeps referencing there being a baby that's also passed. So I don't know if there was a miscarriage, loss, or termination, but she's acknowledging the baby being there also. She also makes me feel like thank you. She's getting on you about your blood sugar. So I don't know if you've been like letting loose or not really paying attention to your blood sugar levels, but she's getting on you about your blood sugar. So I think you need to pay attention to that, because I think she doesn't want you to have to deal with issues as well. She also keeps referencing Thank you. I'm hearing KK. So I don't know if there's a person by the nickname KK or someone went by KK, whether it's connected to mom or she's acknowledging someone there with her or just wanting to say hi to somebody here who's KK, but she's acknowledging that as well. So there's a reference there also. Mom also acknowledges, I don't know if you just recently bought or got a new, like, I don't know if it's a new top or a new jacket or a new, like, it's worn on the top, but there's a little bit of a glitter or a sparkle to it. So I don't know if there's something on it that has a glitter or a sparkle to it, or you just got something and it has that vibe. But she's acknowledging liking something like that. So I don't know if you recently got something like that, but she's acknowledging that for you as well. She's mom's around you and she's with you, and she is wishing you a happy birthday. There's somebody else's birthday in this month as well for y'all. So she's acknowledging somebody else's birthday also in this month. So I've got Susie Hernandez Morales. My question is, I have a daughter who has served 4 years in the service and is on her way home today. Do you see her having a great future? Yeah, even though she served 4 years in the service, I also think that it's just starting. I feel like she's just started. She's just started with the level of proudship that she's going to have for herself and also that you are going to have for her as well. So I think she's going to end up getting involved with work or a career path. There may still be connections to the service, but it has more to do with security or with ensuring that systems are secure or that systems are like, I'm gonna say auditing, but it's almost like I'm auditing a system that is supposed to be secure. So there's something like that she's going to start to focus more on, and there might be a science aspect to it because I feel like there's a science vibe. Because I'm almost reminded of like the people that I've talked to who work for NASA and they're like having to check systems and stuff. I'm seeing that with your daughter, so I feel like there's something like that she's going to go into that I think she's going to do very well with. Mama Myra, hey, lately I've been feeling emotional and kind of not myself when I think of my childhood. Are there any messages from my brother Greg? So your brother, first of all, your brother is apologizing because I don't know if he used to be mean or sometimes he could like pick on you too much or he used to like sometimes mess with your sense of self or self-esteem, but he's apologizing for that and he's wanting to acknowledge that he picked on you or he messed with you because he loved you. So he's just making that clear. He also wants to also acknowledge and bring up having to deal with like the family or having to deal with issues with your either other siblings or with your parents, and how sometimes it would be easier if he were here because it would make some of those circumstances easier. So he's almost acknowledging like because he's not here, it might make some of those situations more difficult. And I think he's acknowledging like financial stuff. So there's a financial theme around that. He also keeps referencing the picture of y'all at the beach. So I don't know if the family used to go and hang out at the beach or do a lot of like barbecues at the beach and fishing, but he's referencing the picture. I want to say that he's wearing a cap. It's like a dark cap, like a navy blue or black cap. He also is acknowledging like he's wearing like a undershirt or a white shirt. So there's something like that as well because he's acknowledging that also. And there was like a black or a dark colored truck as well. So he's showing me a picture or some scene like that y'all may have had growing up. But your brother is with you. He also wants you to stop waiting around for people to give you permission to be who you want to be, because I think that you try to be a lot of things for a lot of different people and you're draining yourself and you're running out of juice. So I think you need to just let yourself be. And if people don't like you or if people have an issue with that, that's their issue. Let them get used to the you that you are and not the you that you've become to make them feel better about themselves. So he's acknowledging or like wanting you to like really be yourself and be yourself unapologetically. Okay. um, do, do, do. Velia. Velia Paulo Barajas. How do you see my future career in school? I'm feeling scared at a pause. I don't know why if I'm really looking forward to it. Also, anything from my grandmother. Yeah, so with your career and school, I see you. First of all, I think you're going to get through school, and I think it's going to be just fine. I do think that there's going to be two separate periods where there's delays, so you might have to deal with delays on two separate occasions. But I still think you'll get through school, and it'll work out for you, and you'll be okay. I also get the feeling that there's going to be even though you may have an idea of how you're going to put your school to use, I think that in the last year of school, in the last few months of school, you're going to have a different option for a job or a work situation that you wouldn't have expected. That it would kind of take you out of your comfort zone or take you kind of in another direction than what you had anticipated or expected. Go with it because I think it's going to be really good for you. I also think that some of that work may connect to the State Department or to like the state or government level work. So there may be a vibe with that may come up as well. But it might be a really good opportunity for you that you wouldn't have normally wanted to do yourself. Also, I do see you getting involved with more activism type stuff because I keep seeing you kind of educating people or schooling people and telling them like, y'all need to understand that this is what this is what this isn't. This is the law. This is not, so I see you doing stuff like that. So I feel like you're going to get more into activism and helping to educate the public or people in general. And I think that's also going to work really well for you. But again, the work opportunity that's going to come up for you when you're done with school, it's going to have something to do with like a governmental organization or like a state government department. Okay. Lisa Launer Govarubias. Are there any messages from my dad? Yes. He is acknowledging, thank you. He is acknowledging, he's doing this. So he's acknowledging a necklace or something that would go around the neck that might be significant. I also keep seeing a religious feeling or tie to it. So I don't know if there's a religious necklace like a cross or like a Virgin Mary type thing, but he's showing me something like this. So there might be something like that is referencing your dad. He also says he messed with your alarms or he messed with your watch or your clock. So I don't know if you have a clock or a watch that makes noise or there was an alarm that was set that you didn't set came on, but he's acknowledging that he tried to mess with that to get your attention. He also says that he is proud of you because he says you're a good person. So the amount of love that I'm feeling with that is really powerful. So he wants you to know that. He also, he says he pulled in your hair or he tugged on your hair. So I don't know if you felt like somebody had pulled your hair and you looked behind you and nobody was there, but he's showing me something like that. So there's a reference there as well. He was ready to go because he makes me feel like he was tired and his body was just failing him. He also is pointing to his liver. So I don't know if there was some complications with his liver or he was no longer processing or being able to, it almost reminds me of like, what is it? Is it jaundice? No. When the liver stops processing toxins and then it starts to build up in your stomach, he's showing me issues with the liver. And it's almost reminiscent of my uncle who was a bit of a drinker and a smoker. And that's what happened with him. But he's showing me that. So there might have been some issues there where he was no longer able, and there might have had to be like a thing attached or bag where he had to deal with that as well. But he makes me feel like he was ready to go, and he doesn't want anyone to worry about him. Like he's okay. All right. Krina. Hey, Krina. Hi, Ferny. Thank you for doing this. The person I am thinking about, do you see them committing to me and when? Thank you. So I feel like you will try this twice with them. I think that you're going to try to kind of tie them into a commitment, probably by the end of next year. That may not happen. And then you may have another year or two before they may be, that may come up again as a potential commitment. I'm not feeling entirely confident with the commitment with this person. So I want to tell you, you might need to be prepared for the idea that they may not be a committable type, and keep your options open because I don't want you to be waiting around 6 years and this person still hasn't committed themselves to you. So I kind of want you to really see it from an objective perspective and keep your options open. If you can accept them for how they are right now and let it be, I honestly think it would be fine and it could work. But as far as like committing themselves to you, there may be 2 attempts at it and then it just may not get to where you want it to go to. And you may need to reassess that situation. Okay. I know I always feel bad when I have to give people like news that they don't want to hear or maybe they don't want to know, but it's like, I got to tell people what I'm seeing and it makes it harder. Jenny Malor. Hi, Fernie. Whose spirit is appearing in my baby's monitor? It is actually a grandmother energy. So it's going to be like a grandmother or on that level of like a grandmother, but it's a female. I want to say there might even be a Cancer or a blood disorder that's similar to cancer connected to her, because there's a feeling or a vibe there. So there's a like a grandmother energy or on that level, and she had cancer, and that's the one that I think is coming around the baby, or is coming around as well. But by the way, your child is a little sensitive, so you might start to see more things happening as they get older. I wouldn't be scared about it, but I would learn to kind of intend for the energy around the baby in the room to be more positive and to be lighthearted. So I would put up representations of like protection or of love or of like boundaries in the room, even though you may, and baby may not understand what it means right now, but I think it would visually, when you see it, by just seeing it, it's automatically going to cause that energy to come up within you, and then you're going, just by thinking about it, immediately it sends a wave out of protection around the energy of the baby. But I feel like what you're seeing in the monitor isn't a bad speed or anything like that. It's just a relative coming around to say hi. Cindy Martinez. Hi, Ferny. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Any messages from my grandmother? Thank you. Yes, a beautiful picture, by the way. Girl, you are working the hell out of them filters. Beautiful. So, I know I'm the same way. Don't worry, I'm the same way, yo. Grandmother. So, your grandmother is, she is doing this. So, she's doing the symbol of the blessing. So, she's blessing you. So, she's making that symbol there. She also keeps acknowledging a picture falling or a picture breaking or the glass breaking. So, I don't know if y'all had a situation where a picture or a frame that was either next to hers or around hers fell or broke, and she's just acknowledging, being aware of that or acknowledging that. She also keeps referencing, thank you, I don't know if you wrote like a love letter on Mother's Day, like happy Mother's Day to the, to the most important women in my life. And then you mentioned your grandmother, but there's something about that, because she's acknowledging something, and it would have been like on a special date. So it would have been Mother's Day, but it's almost like I'm writing a love letter, but I'm posting it publicly. So it would be like on social media or on some sort of social media platform, but she's acknowledging that as well. She also, thank you, she's making fun of the ducks chasing y'all. So I don't know if y'all went to this park and there was ducks and the ducks were chasing y'all and y'all were like screaming or whatever, but she's like making fun or laughing about that. So I don't know if y'all just recently had that happen, or if there's a memory of you and her and that happening, but she's making reference or acknowledging that. Okay. Jordan Taylor, will Bobby be okay? I feel like there, I've seen the number two. So for me, when I see the number two, I feel like that represents a date. So I'm going to say it's either going to take 2 months or 2 years to get to a place of stability. Because I'm saying a place of stability, I'm thinking yes. So I'm going to lean towards yes, that I think Bobby will be okay. But I feel like it might take 2 months or 2 years for him to get stable or for his situation to improve. So you may have to just, hold fast to your prayers and try to do the best that you can if you can help with the situation. But I honestly think that it's something that Bobby will be going through, and that Bobby has to not figure this out, but work through the challenges. Again, two. I'm leaning towards 2 years, so that's what I'm leaning towards. But usually, sometimes when I see two, it could be 2 months or 2 years. So just be prepared for that. Okay. Um, Mary Avila. Hello. Any career advice for me? And that's the end of her. That's the end of her thing. So I don't know what you're going to say there, but any career advice for me? Yeah, I think that there's going to be a change for you in February. So about February timeframe, I think you're going to end up making a change as far as career is concerned. So if you've got a job, you're going to be changing that job in February. If you're trying to figure out what to do next, you might make that decision by February. But I feel February is a big time for you. With that being said, once you make the change in February, you are going to, I feel like you're going to bounce around within a year. So the change comes up in February, you make that change. Within that 12 months after that, you're bouncing around trying to figure out what specifically you want to do. I wouldn't be surprised if you actually pull away from what you originally wanted to do with your career or the direction you wanted to go in. I wouldn't be surprised if you pull away from that and you end up moving in the direction of like, I'm almost reminded of like a coordinator or a, I'm reminded of when I used to work at the doctor's office and I knew my office manager. So I'm reminded of that. So maybe like a coordinator or resource manager or human resources or office manager. It's like, it's got that vibe to it. So I feel like you might get pulled in that direction. So don't be surprised about that. Okay. Let's scroll down here. All right. Jettily. I have a question. I started a new job this week. What do you see with this job? Will I be successful or will it lead to other opportunities? I do believe you will do well with the job. I think it's gonna. Yes to both. Yes to both. I think it's going to lead to other opportunities. I think you'll do well enough with your current role or position in the job, but I only think that you'll be in that position or role for about 6 months, and then there may be a shuffle. And when the shuffle happens, you may have a choice. And when you have that choice, there's someone who would be like over you, like a supervisor or someone that's going to be above you, who may want to pull you in the direction of what they are focused on or what they're responsible for. And I would go ahead and run with it because I actually think that might open another opportunity for you to actually be able to replace that person. So when that comes up, so that may come up around the six month time frame where there's a shuffle and then you're able to make a choice whether you're going to stay put or you're going to move over with this other opportunity. Either direction you go in, I think would work for you, but I think that the opportunity with this person who's wanting to kind of groom you, I think might actually work in your favor. Okay. I sure did break that cycle. Um, see, I'm trying to run through some of these questions here. Because, oh, here we go. Here's Loopy. Your picture. Your picture is great, Loopy McGee. I'm curious about my dad. He passed about a month ago. He was paranoid schizophrenic. Is he happy on the other side? He wasn't very happy here, thanks. Yeah. So first of all, I completely understand your hardships. My mother's a schizophrenic as well. She suffers from undifferentiated schizophrenia. She was diagnosed when I was like 9 or 8, and that was rough because to see someone who you think is normal and okay and it's fine, and all of a sudden they start having schizophrenic episodes. It's like the person that you knew before that, they're gone. So that's how it worked out for me. I don't know if your dad had always been schizophrenic for you, but it's not an easy thing to have to go through. And then when they're going through the episodes, that in itself is a lot of work and it's a lot of struggle. So my heart goes out to you. With that being said, as far as dad is concerned, there are 3 males in spirit. So I want to say that your father is with 2 other males. There's a male friend that you have who is also in spirit. So I think this is a male who passed away in a vehicular incident or some sort of a vehicular or automobile type thing. I don't know if this was a car or motorcycle because I keep seeing Born to be Wild. So this might have been someone who wasn't paying attention or they made some mistakes when they were in a vehicle and it just didn't turn out for the best. But this is like a male that's also there as well, who would have been like a coworker or a friend or acquaintance or something like that. Because it's to your side, so that's why I'm saying that. Your dad, however, he is bringing up the number 7, so I would say that the 7th of a month or the month of July may be significant. He also keeps acknowledging birds, so he sends birds to you and hummingbirds. So both birds and hummingbirds are going to be things that you experienced from your father. He also says that he showed up in a dream to show himself to you. So I don't know if you remember having a dream about a strange man, and you may not even have known that this was your dad, because I feel like you may not have actually seen him, but there was someone with you in the dream. And I feel like this was your father. So he's acknowledging a dream like this where you may not have actually seen him, but you felt a male in the dream with you. And I think he was just trying to let you know that he was okay and that he's fine now. The thing about it is your dad also had a lot of trauma. And I think that aside from the schizophrenia, I feel like the reason why he had schizophrenia, or it was to the level that it was because he had some trauma when he was a child. And he makes me feel like it was not an easy life for him. He also, he's showing me, interestingly enough, I am seeing the military gesture. Even though your dad was schizophrenic, I don't know if he ever served in the military when he was younger, or if he was given some sort of special like designation or something. But he's like doing that, so I'm almost acknowledging that. It's either that, or I feel like I want to call somebody Captain or a nickname Cap. But there's like something like that because he's making reference to that as well. He also is acknowledging. I don't know if your dad was a hoarder or he had a tendency of hoarding stuff, because I feel like I'm seeing a trash can and I feel like there's trash everywhere. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I don't know if he was a bit of a hoarder or you had to deal with a lot of like his stuff and there was just so much, or like just a bunch of stuff, but he's fine. He doesn't care about it. So he's like wanting to make sure that you know that he's fine in that, with that. Also, he is, there's a picture of your dad on a boat or on a ship, because I feel like I'm over water. So he's acknowledging the image of him where either he was on a boat, he was next to the boat, he was on the water, but he's showing me a picture of like of himself in that way. But he's okay. All right. Um, Here we go. Here's QG Green. I if drawn impossible tapping into my energy, do you see pregnancy for me soon? I feel it coming, hopefully sooner than later. Love and light. Yeah, I actually see baby energy around you next July 2021, so around next year. Whenever I see baby energy, y'all, it's either I am picking up on someone getting pregnant, someone celebrating their own baby shower, or someone having a baby. And the reason why I pick up on those three things is because I'm tuning into the emotion around it. Usually when people find out that they're pregnant, most people get excited. If not, they're shitting bricks, but they're still feeling something around that. When people are celebrating their baby shower, there's still a sense of excitement, but also scared because you're getting close. And then when you're giving birth, it's the same energy. So there's a lot of similar energy there. So when I tune into baby energy or see that vibe, it's usually because one of those three things is happening. But I'm seeing that for you around July of next year. Okay. Clarimer. Hi, Ferny. My childhood friend passed away 3 days ago. Does he have a message for me? His name is Giovanni. Yeah, so immediately he is pointing the finger at himself. Usually, whenever that happens, it usually means that either someone contributed to their own passing, caused it, or they're making themselves responsible for their own situation. He is bringing up almost like I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. So he's making me feel like a lack of breathing or something may have affected his chest or this area of his body, because I feel almost like this. And I feel like I can't catch my breath. I can't catch my breath. He also makes me feel like I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to react. And it's almost like he didn't anticipate that this is how he was going to pass, but he is also like, I didn't know what else to do or how to react in the moment. And everything just happened so fast and it just, and so he also makes me feel, he's acknowledging the two females. I don't know if he was married and had a daughter, or he had two girls, or if he was in a relationship, but he's acknowledging two females. So he's wanting to acknowledging the two females. He's also showing me the number 7 as well. So July or the 7th of a month would be significant, even though he did pass away in July, assuming because that was 3 days ago. But there's another date in July as well that he's making reference to or acknowledging. There's a baby with him in spirit as well. So there is a child that was either miscarried, lost, or terminated, but he's acknowledging this baby being with him as well. Thank you. He just said 3. So there's 3 children in spirit, or 3 babies in spirit, that are connected to you or connected somehow to him. But he's referencing the 3, and they're with him in spirit as well. Also, he's got a dog with him also. So I don't know if you have a dog that's passed away, but he's acknowledging the dog being with him as well in spirit. Okay. Let's see. Someone asked me, do I ever predict deaths in my readings? I So I'm very careful with what I tell people, because it's a lot of responsibility. And if I am being given the opportunity to connect with people and to give them information that I foresee, I never want to give them information that is going to I never want to give information that is going to affect them in such a way that they essentially like lose it. And usually when you like, when people come to me, I'm not going to say, hey girl, what's up? I was just tuning into your health. Guess what? You've got 2 weeks left to live because you got cancer. Like that's not the way I do readings, y'all. So whenever I'm tuning into someone's health, I focus in on like the things that are popping up as significant. And if there's an area that I'm seeing that I do feel might really line up with a situation that they could get sick and possibly pass away, I never tell the person you're going to die. What I tell them is this area is important. You need to go get this checked out because this is something that you can maybe do something about. And there's a reason why I say it that way, because I believe that if I'm receiving it, I'm not receiving it so that I can tell somebody that they're going to die. I'm receiving it so that I can give them an idea of what they need to do to help themselves. And that's how I always choose to see it. And that's what I will continue to do. Now, with that being said, if someone asks me when they're going to pass away, I'm not going to shy away from the question, because if someone wants to know something, I'm going to tell them what I see. So if someone asks me, I will tell them. Now, if someone's going to live a really long life, I will tell them, like, you're going to be around for a lot longer. You ain't got retirement, so I'm going to need you to like start collecting those coins because you're not going to be prepared for being an old person. But usually I won't tell them like you're going to die. I tell them this is an area in your health you need to go work on, or this is something you need to try to avoid, or whatnot. But if someone asks me, when am I going to die? Or my mom's sick, is she going to pass soon? I will answer the question, but I won't go and just volunteer that way, because I'm not trying to freak people out in that way. Okay. Calcia Beato. Hi, Ferny. I lost two uncles a long time ago. I was really young and I miss them. I hope they're okay and watching over my dad, their brother, and us. So with the brothers, here's the thing. I definitely, one of them for some reason is showing me a jacket or like a uniform. I don't know if it's a uniform jacket or a jacket that has something on it, but there's something that I would say could be worn that's like a jacket or a uniform jacket or something like that, because I feel like there's something on it, or there's a name tag or something that's feels that way. So there's that. So one of them is acknowledging that. They're both together. There's two other males with them in spirit as well. So there may actually be two friends that have since passed as well that may also be connected to your dad, but they're acknowledging the two other males with them. So there's four of them there as well. One of the brothers, I'm smelling smoke, so I don't know if one of them smoked or if there was a situation with smoke in one of them, but one of them is showing, I'm smelling smoke, so I'm going to assume that one of them is a smoker. They're also acknowledging the picture of all of them. I want to say all of them on the back of a truck, or on the back of like a bed of something. Like, for example, like if like a truck is rolling up and we're moving stuff off the truck and putting it down, they're acknowledging like a picture or an image like this that may exist, because they're referencing that as well. The oldest one, or the older one, is referencing the number 11. So I want to say the 11th of a month, or 11 like November, is significant, or it could be January 1st, but there's the 11th of a month. They're also wanting to say thank you. I don't know if they're picking on your mom, or one of them's like making a joke, because one of them's like like almost like picking on your mom and like doing this like the eyes. So I don't know if one of them had a habit of like picking on your mom, or your mom and one of the brothers would have some fun there, where they would get on each other's nerves or pick or mess with each other, but one of them is like messing with your mom, was saying hello. So there's a reference there as well. Also, they are acknowledging a birthday, but they're talking about next month. And so we're in August, so September. So there might be a birthday, or there might be a significant birthday. Yeah, there's a birthday. So there's a birthday in September as well. So they're acknowledging the birthday in September as well. Okay. I think I'm going to answer a couple more, guys, and then I think I'm done for the day. Okay, got it. Here we go. Amy, can you pick up on my friend mentor who died recently, Cecile? She was a spiritual counselor at Unity Church in Houston, Texas. Thank you. Yeah, I've gone to Unity a few times before. I actually went several times. I went to a couple of lectures there because they're always having lectures. Yes. So immediately, first of all, I don't think she wants you to take yourself so seriously. So I think she wants you to relax or just, calm down because I feel like you're getting too caught up with some of the stuff that's going on in the world today or with the stuff that is happening. And she's almost like wanting to pull you back from the edge. And she's like, we all know, we all know. And so she's like pulling you back from the edge. She also says there's a lot of surprises for 2021. So I think she's trying to give you like, some really interesting things. I'm asking her like, what are the surprises? And she says, you'll see. So she's being coy, which is funny because I'm like, you said you would tell us what's going to happen, but she's acknowledging that some good surprises are going to happen in 2021. She also wants you to know that she laid in bed with you and she actually tried to hug you. So I don't know if you were either you were in bed or you were on the couch or on laying down, but she says that she tried to hug you and you might have felt this like warmth around you, and she makes me feel like she was just trying to like cover you in a blanket of love. So she's acknowledging that. She's also showing me like a pen or an angel. I think it's an angel pen. I don't know if you have an angel pen that she gave you or you gave her one, but she's acknowledging like this pin or an angel pin. It could just be a feather as well, but I'm kind of seeing it that way. She also keeps referencing, she just said George. I don't know if she's connected to a George and she's wanting to acknowledge that person, or if you're connected to a George, or if y'all have a George that y'all worked with. But she's referencing the George and acknowledging that person. She's also, I think she's just said two. So there might actually be two Georges because she's just acknowledging two and then referencing that. She also keeps acknowledging a picture, and I feel like it's a memorial picture. So I don't know if they are planning on putting up like a picture as a memorial to her at the center, or in the at the center, but she's acknowledging like a memorial picture. So she's referencing that as well. She also, thank you. Also, thank you. I don't know if she ever aspired to want to sing or to play music, or to be a performer like that, but she's like practicing now, or she says now she's going to get the chance to do it, or she's got a mentor now. So she's referencing that also as well. She's also handing a book over to you. So I don't know if you have a book that she gifted you that has kind of been a go-to resource for you, but she's like gifting a book, or she's showing a book being handed over to you in that way as well. She says it's your time now. So she is expecting you to uphold and outdo her. And she says, I don't want excuses. And that's the way she makes it clear. I don't want excuses. So she's kind of being a bit tough or a little bit like pushy, but I feel like, she wants you to do well. So I think that's why she's being that way with you. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Turtles in a half shell, turtle power. Takesha Anderson. I want to know if my mom have any message for me just passed. Yes. So immediately she showed me a heart. I don't know if you have a little like piece of jewelry that's got a heart on it, or there's something about that. Either that, or she might have had issues with her heart, because sometimes that also means the same thing as well. But she's bringing that up. She also keeps referencing that you. She says she's proud of you. And she says she wants you to be proud of yourself, but she says she's proud of you. She also says she felt her hand being touched. So I don't know if she was out of consciousness and you were holding onto her hand or touching her hand, but she's acknowledging, saying she felt her hand being touched. She also says there was a male in the room with her. So there might have been a male spirit or a male in the room with her, and that she's acknowledging because she's making reference to that as well. She also says, even if you tried to move me, I don't think it would have been different. So I don't know if y'all were wanting to move her to a different facility, or y'all were trying to move her from where she was actually at, but she's acknowledging that, and she's making reference, and she says even if y'all had moved me, I don't think it would have made much of a difference. She also says it was time for her to go, so I don't think she wants any questions around that. She says it was her time. She also, thank you, there's a sister that she wants to acknowledge. So either you have a sister and she wants to say hello to your sister, or she's acknowledging her sister and she wants to say hello to her sister, but she's acknowledging the sister. She's also talking about having the same birth date or having the same day as the birth date, so there's a reference there to the sister energy that she's bringing up also. She also wants you to know that you can continue to talk to her, and she is going to send you a rainbow, or you may have seen a rainbow, and that's coming from mom. Okay. All right, guys, I love you all. I will be back next Saturday. We're going to do the same thing all over again, and I can't wait to connect with y'all then. So until then, I'll see y'all next week. Okay.